This is the Fatherhood Experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the Fatherhood Experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The Fatherhood Experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a awesome episode for you guys today. I've been chomping at the bit to do an episode like this for a while, and we're excited to dive in. Before we go there, though, just want to give a huge shout out to all you guys who continue to show up every single week and put in the work. The guys that are tuning in but not putting in the work, we appreciate you too. But the number one way that you can pay us back is by showing up, putting in the work, and becoming the most elite version of yourself. With that being said, we have a value exchange here. If you get any value today, all we ask of you is to share the show with one dad in your life who you feel like will help move him forward. If it makes you laugh, it makes you think, it gives you one golden nugget to get you a little bit better today, please just share the show with one father. We're not going to run ads. We don't ever run ads on here. I'm not going to sit up here and promote a bunch of nonsense that I don't use. So we're here to give you value, maximum value, and we're excited to dive in. Zach, before we even go to title, dude, I know you had we're talking mindset today, so I know you had a bit of a exciting night and are running on some fumes, man. So how you holding up?
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll see, right? Physically, I'm half asleep. Mentally, probably still half asleep, man. But I'm excited to do these. You know, I love doing these podcast episodes, throwing out as much value as we possibly can. So let's see what I can do here.
Love it, dude. Well,
you got this on lock. Let's see what I do.
Well, I'll guide you to the finish line. I'll guide you to the promised land.
Let's go.
Zach had a friend in town, and apparently in Vegas, they do. What was it? Did you say Sunday and Tuesday? What were the days?
Sundays
the weird
and
days?
Tuesdays. He actually was. He's a local actually, which is why it was a Tuesday night, which just so happens to be the two nights that are the nights before we have our morning meetings. So I look all ready to go, but it's because I just got home before this recording. So here we are, man.
Oh, that's so awesome, dude. So
Zach was perfectly well. Like you wanted to do, you're like, hey, let's stream this for the first time. Let's go ahead and try to do it. We've talked about this in the past for a long time. And the one day you decide to finally do it is the one day, well, the second day that I had to do this and go out. I mean, I didn't have to. Look, I didn't have to. Okay.
No. Yeah. We call this voluntary torture. Yeah.
Correct. He's a good friend of mine. He's one of those friends that, you know, if you have to go out of your way to be there,
what you got to do, man.
You will. And that was it.
Yeah, dude, you got to do what you got to do. That's part of living life, dude. And it's part of a sustainable lifestyle because ththese things do come up, and that's, you know, and we'll jam that into this session as well. But what I want you to know is this, dude, in terms like what I want you guys to know is, Zach showed up to the team meeting today, and you guys realize Zach's in Vegas and I'm in Dallas. And so when we host our team meetings are at 10 a.m. my time, because our employees are also Pacific time. And so it just makes sense to do a little bit later team meeting. So it's 8 a.m. And I log on to the team meeting. Zach pops in. He's like, oh, I'm on the way home. I haven't even been home yet. I'm like, what? He goes, it's like, what time do you guys stay up to? He's like, well, I mean, I stayed up till 4 and I'm going home right now so we can do this shit. And I'm like, dude, I have not seen 4 a.m. in a long ass time. And so I do not envy where you're at. I'm sure a nap is in your future.
Well, you have. It was involuntary when Colin kicks you in the back at nighttime and wakes you up, right? Because I've seen 4 o'clock many times as well, but
for sure
in my bed.
So yours in this situation, these are self-inflicted wounds, and mine are involuntary wounds when Colin's jacking me in the back in the middle of the night. So love it. All right, well, let's dive in, dude. Today's topic, man, and really for all of you guys, we've been seeing in our communities, specifically in the fatherhood. We obviously help guys lose weight, right? Like that's the number one focus is health and fitness as the foundation. And we see a lot of guys that battle with the mental side of things. And so today we're going to get into the mental hurdles of a weight loss journey. I know that the only reason Zach and I are here with you guys today is because we've mastered the mindset piece. And that's not to say that we don't struggle. When I say mastered, we have established enough long-term discipline, and Zach can describe his discipline point theory here in this show. I think it's a good thing to highlight because we haven't talked about that in a while. But what I will say is you and I have gotten to a point now where, I mean, I explain to our guys this a lot, but like our health habits essentially have almost become robotic, right? When we lack motivation or when we're trying to talk ourselves out of something, we already know what we need to do to avoid making the excuse, right? And it's these little, sometimes it's just hearing something the right way or having a certain minor little strategy that will help you move forward. I think one of our guys last night talked about David Goggins, and what did he say? It was like the 1 second decision or something like that. He's reading one of Goggins' new book. And so there's a lot of, I guess we'll call them recipes. There's a lot of recipes out there or strategies to work your way through these ruts, man. And so want to dive into a little bit of into the weight loss journey, man, and help our guys really move forward, because I think at the end of the day, there is no successful transformation unless you have the mindset transformation, because we see it all the time, dude. These guys go out, they focus on the surface level shit, right? The keto diet or the Whole30 or, the snake oils and the pills, the potions, gimmicks, MLM, Optavia, or what are some of the other ones? Herbalife. Some of these things where it's surface level, right?
I talked to somebody who did that yesterday, literally on a sales call.
Well, it's all the time, dude. It's the stuff that's thrown right in your face constantly, though, right? Like if you're a guy and you're trying to navigate, your health journey, as soon as you start talking about it, clicking on an ad, whatever, what are you going to see most of, right, on social media? It's going to be all the gimmicky pills and potions and stuff, because that's a very easy way to trap you in, right? They get you in, you're going to get results, so it's rewarding, but they also don't teach you the lifestyle, and they don't help you build the habits. They're going to make you successful long-term, man. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the surface level stuff first. And I guess my question to you is, why do you feel, other than it being spilled in your face, but why do you feel like guys are so tempted by the surface level things?
We talk about it all the time, man. The surface level things are always delivered upon or sent. The message always portrayed like, okay, if I take this, I'm going to get results in 30 days. If I do this challenge, I'm going to change my life in 60 days. If I do that, you know what it is, right? Something like you like to talk about all the time. Like, we cannot order these things through Amazon, right? It takes a lot of hard work. The reason why a lot of these people get attracted to these things is because it's shiny. It's shiny. It's pretty. It's attractive. And they promise things that don't deliver. Like you said, you did say that they will get results. And look, they might get results, but they're not permanent, man. One thing that I like to say all the time to these people is that the only way that you can have a decent physique or a great physique is changing your mentality, your mindset first, because the only way that you can have a decent physique while having a broken mindset is you're either practicing disordered behaviors, such as, excessive exercise, you're practicing disordered eating behaviors and eating patterns, or you're taking some type of exogenous drugs. Those are literally the three only ways that you can have a decent physique while having a broken mentality. Other than that, and not even other than that, it's always going to be temporary if that's the case. I take it back. The results will always be temporary if your mindset is broken, period. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I agree with you. And what I will say, in addition to that, is that, we talk about immediate gratification all the time, but it's this shortcut mentality, right? And I think it's no fault of, if you're, okay, so let me back up. If you're 50 pounds overweight, it's your fault, right? But if you go down some of these paths, it is not your fault that you were misled down these paths, right? But it is your fault if you don't learn from your mistakes, learn from your failures along the way. Because I can't tell you how many guys that I've had sales calls with who come on at the call and they're like, dude, I ask them, all right, well, like, what all have you tried so far? What true attempts, right? It's not like I tried keto for a week. I'm like, what programs or what true attempts have you put into this? And a lot of times I'll get the response of, well, maybe the better question is, what haven't I tried? I'm like, okay, right. Why don't you feel like any of those things have worked? And generally guys are scrambling because they don't know the answer, right? They're like, I don't know. That's why I'm here with you. I don't know why they didn't work. Well, like, could I challenge you a little bit here and say, maybe those didn't work because you weren't doing the work? Well, I guess so, right? It's like, you didn't fix the true root cause of your problem, which was your bad habits over time. And you looked for shortcuts because you want to unwind these bad habits quickly, right? Like if you're 50 pounds overweight, you feel like shit. I know I did. We've been getting guys now, quite a few that are over 100 pounds overweight. Dude, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you feel like shit. Okay. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it, man. I know that when I was 60 pounds over the weight, there was not a day that went by where I felt like good, right? I compared to what I feel now. And so
let me, hey, real quick though, let me interject
course.
for those people, because I've been there too, right? We've both been there 50 plus pounds overweight, right? We've been fit, we've been fat, and then fit again. If you're one of those people who believe that, no, actually, I feel great, I feel fantastic, I would challenge that as well. And I would actually say you forgot what it feels like to feel good. You're kind of desensitized to feeling like trash, which is why you think you feel good. But all that really is, in reality, it's just you have decreased your minimum standard. Your minimum standard got more minimum, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
So it's to the point where you think it's your new norm. It's your new norm. Yeah. So I would challenge people who are like, that's bullcrap. Jason's saying 50. No way. Yes way. Yes way. There's no way that somebody's morbidly obese and they're saying that they feel absolutely fantastic.
It's not possible.
If they think they do, if they think that they do, and if you do, if you're listening to this, I challenge you to get in better shape, because not only have you probably forgotten, but if you do feel good and you really truly do, that is awesome. But how much better can you feel?
That's just it, dude.
Become the absolute best version of you is the real question. If you feel good, why not feel great? Is the real question, man. So I just had to throw that in there, because we've spoken with hundreds, if not thousands of people by now, literally actually thousands of people by now. And a lot of these guys say that they actually feel okay. And I'm just like, nah, man.
You don't understand, dude. Yeah.
Forget. How long have you been dealing with this weight? A decade plus. I'm like, you've just forgotten, man.
You just forget how great
it's like, what was that one? A long time ago, I watched that movie, Hook, a long time ago, that 90s movie where Robin Williams is Peter Pan. He's like, you got to believe. You forgot how to do it, how to believe. Yep. And then later on he did. You guys, you just forgot. You're all being old version of Peter Pan. You just forgot. You got to get it back.
And what you just said there, though, and I'm not a trust the science, bro, especially over the last 2 years, but scientifically speaking, our bodies are very, very well equipped to achieve homeostasis, right? We talk about this all the time, where it's like, you gain 10 pounds, your body's going to get used to it. You gain 20 pounds, your body's going to get used to it. 50 pounds, 100 pounds. And we see it all the time. Like when I was in the hospital working in the ICU, this would come up often, where it's like a guy that's, let's say it's 80 pounds overweight. He comes in, and his hemoglobin A1C, your 3-month blood sugar average, is through the roof, right? And he didn't know, because he's not checking blood sugars. He doesn't even have a diagnosis of diabetes yet. But we're like, our minds are blown when we come in and we see an A1C of like, 11 or 12. I'm like, holy shit, dude, your blood sugars are running in the several hundreds right now. You got to feel awful. I'm like, no, the reason you don't feel awful is because your body, the human body, it is an amazing thing at trying to achieve homeostasis, comfort, right? It's just like the whole thing with going out in the cold. You start to shiver, so you warm up, right? Your body does not love discomfort. Your body loves comfort. It's why discipline is just doing the hard shit when you don't want to do the hard shit, because your body doesn't want to do that, right? So with that being said, scientifically, our bodies are meant to make us feel better. And so somebody who's looking at lab work is going to look at this guy and he's like, you look like a train wreck and your blood work looks like a train wreck. You don't feel like shit. Well, I mean, like, I'm tired all the time, but like, I still get up and I still do my day. You forgot what great feels like, dude. I'm here to tell you, man. And like, what you just said about the way that guys feel is also the same thing that we get a lot around stress. When I ask somebody how much stress they're carrying around, especially guys, because guys tend to carry around a lot of stress. They normalize it, right? We internalize stress like it's just a normal part of life. And there is a certain amount of stress that's good for you. And we've talked about that on other episodes. But with stress too, it's like you get used to carrying around this amount of stress. You don't have outlets. And so your body just thinks that this is all of a sudden normal. Meanwhile, you got a fat gut, you got man boobs, your cortisol levels are through the roof, your estrogen level is through the roof, and you're becoming soft with no energy, right? And it's this slow process, but it's a vicious cycle. And because it's such a slow process, guys don't realize that it's been a decade, like you said, right? It's been a decade since I've had weight problems. Well, dude, you literally don't know what it feels like to feel great. We talk about it all the time. It feels damn good to feel damn good. If you haven't felt that in a long time, it's insane to me that you could just shut your mind down to a better life, right?
Yeah, man. And the worst ones, they're the ones that have been struggling with weight their entire life, right? Those are the saddest ones to me when they just don't know. They have
don't know a better
never
life.
known. It's a novel feeling to them. They're just like, what? Like, yeah, like, oh, I feel okay. I'm like, well, how long have you been dealing with the weight? He's like, I've been fat my whole life. I hear that stuff all the time, man. And it's just crazy, man. So, I mean, I guess the first message that we have for you guys is we've been on both sides and it's better on this side. That's just the reality of what it is, right? When you're healthier, life is better. When you're more functional and more mobile, life is better. When you're not a slave to doctor's appointments and medications, life is better.
100%.
You know, because what do we like to say all the time, man? Life's going to be hard, but choose your hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. Is it going to be hard because of the things that I just said, the doctor's appointments, the medications, having to use up all your sick leave because you have these, you know, these appointments, going and dipping into your PTO because now you have to go to another doctor's appointment, whatever it may be, potentially becoming a burden to the people that you love and care for because you can't even take care of yourself or whatever it may be. That's hard.
Very hard.
And guess what? If it's hard now, it's only going to get exponentially harder as you age over the course of time, right? Or we could choose the hard of being fit. Oh no, I have to go work on myself and become fit and strong and more mobile and more flexible and just be better looking and have a higher sense of well-being, increase my bone mineral density and everything else that comes with lifting weights. Oh no, I have to eat nutritious food so I can feel amazing. Oh no, I have to sleep 7 to 9 hours so I could wake up with absolute clarity, which is not where I'm at right now. And I can, you know, regulate my hormones so I could grow and get and reap the rewards of all the weight training that I've done. It's going to be hard either way. Yeah, pick your hard. But we're telling you from experience that we've been on both sides of the hard, and this hard is much better. Not to mention, if we front load the hard now, life is easier as it goes because you only have to maintain versus fixing a problem that gets exponentially worse over the course of time, which is why we hear so often, it's kind of too late. This is just the hand I was dealt. This is just my genetics. I guess this is it for me. It's never it for you, man. Our oldest client right now is what, 72,
71 or something. Yeah,
something like that. It is never too late, guys. It's never too late. But I'm just telling you right now that if you start sooner than later, your only regret you're going to have is that you didn't do it even sooner.
Yep.
That's just the reality of it.
Literally every guy we work with, that, like, I would
Every
say
guy.
99% of the time, what would you have changed? I just wish I would have started sooner. Right. It's like,
100%.
you know, and again, it goes back to it feels damn good to feel damn good. And that's just it. It's like, when you can embrace the hard work and you just say, you know what, Zach and Jason are right. Like, life is going to be hard regardless. Because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this was based around business, but it's very much pertains to health too. It's like when you're working through life, right, and you've got a goal on the map, and you accomplish that goal. So let's say you're 250 pounds and you want to get down to 240 by next month. We set these goals and we accomplish these goals, and then we celebrate the goals, right? But you never really had another goal in mind, right? You have the long-term goal of getting under 200. But let's say you got from 250 to 240 and you wanted to reward yourself. Man, I worked my ass off to get that 10 pounds gone. Now I'm going to go out and I'm going to party all weekend, man. Like I want to go out and have a nice meal with my wife tonight. I'm going to go celebrate with the boys tomorrow, have a couple beers, and I'll get right back at it on Monday. You never really accomplished months, man. You congrats on the 10 pounds, but like you've not really done anything for your mindset for long-term success. And that's just it. Like you alluded to it earlier with the temporary results on some of the Optavias and the MLM kind of stuff, because they do provide results. You will get results because you are going to be in a calorie deficit. You are going to use a replacement shake. They are going to tell you to walk a little bit, do these things. So you will get some initial results if you change nothing else, and that's the change you made. But can you sustain it, man? Is it your lifestyle? Right. You're going to live off a $400 supplement every month? Hell no. So shifting gears a little bit here, getting into the mindset stuff, man, because I think a lot of guys out there, they know what we're saying is true, right? A lot of guys that reach out to us all the time, they're like, man, I just, let's use our client Dave, right? In that video from our very first retreat, that I always hold that video in my head because it screams us, right? It's like, I came in, I've lost weight. This is Dave, who, if any of you guys follow me on Instagram, I did a reel about Dave losing the same 100 pounds 10 times. And my video editor that I'm using did a pretty cool job showing some shit. But Dave has lost 1,000 pounds over his lifetime, right? And so clearly he doesn't have any problem losing weight. He knows how to do it. It's the keeping it off, which is all mental. And the reality is until you fix your mindset, you're not going to really get very far. And so I always hold on to that clip. I know you know what I'm talking about, where he's sitting there. He's like, I've lost weight before, but like what they really helped me out with is really just getting into the mindset stuff, man. And like when I hear that, it gives me chills because I know Dave's a stand-up dude, but that's when you and I start talking about leadership, minimum standards, raising your standards as a man, and getting rid of the excuses, right? We all make excuses and we talk about it all the time. Excuses are nothing but lies we tell ourselves when we're not committed to the task at hand. So how do we bridge that gap between thinking about it and then taking action and making it something that's lifelong? And I guess that's the magic bullet that everybody's looking for. But I want to get into a little bit of mindset strategy there, man, and talk about some of that. I know we talked about discipline points before. So if you want to give your, I don't know if you want to give your long version of it or your short version of it, but if you want to give a little bit of breakdown of it, I think it's extremely valuable, especially for guys who are looking for, and you and I talk about this often, but like, when you hear that one little way that somebody verbalizes something, right? Like that one little psychology nugget that you need in your mind. Raymond talks about this often with us, but he's like, yeah, I think it was you, Jason. I heard you on a podcast like last year, telling the men on your podcast to just man the fuck up and eat your broccoli already. He's like, man, that stuck with me, dude. He's like, it's not about the taste. It's about me feeling good. And now I love broccoli. I'm like, all right, well, so you need that little nugget. And so shed some light on your discipline points, man, and how guys can resonate with that.
So I think the value of what I'm about to break down right now is it's because it helps you to understand how the hell this works, right? This is why Dave did not like sustain the 100 pounds he lost that couldn't and gained it 9 times again before he came with us and permanently lost it, right? So people need to understand what is to be expected during this journey in order for them to have a greater chance of success. Because if you don't know what to prepare for mentally, it's going to hit you like a truck.
Right.
So what I like to describe our everyday tasks, what it's about is disciplinary points, right? So let's put it this way. Every single person, okay, and I'll just use the unit of 10 because it's so easy. Every single person on earth, regardless of who the hell you are, has 10 disciplinary points that they can use towards whatever it is that they want to do during the day. But here's the thing. The more productive and the harder it is, the more points it requires because it takes more effort, right? Common sense. If you want to go to sleep, if you want to watch Netflix, if you want to eat some junk food, guess what? That takes like a quarter point, maybe half of a point. So you have 10 points to use in a day. All right, guys. So when you're first starting out, health, fitness, business, literally anything, there is always going to be a learning curve. There's always going to be behaviors that have to be undone. There's always going to be patterns that have to be developed in order to go ahead and do so. So let's use somebody who's out of shape and wants to do something about it. I've been out of shape my whole life. What the heck do I do? Everybody knows move more, eat less, blah, 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 that generic nonsense, right? But here's the thing. It's easier said than done because when you're first starting out, it's extremely difficult to do. It's very hard, right? Like this losing weight is simple. Dave did it 10 times over. Keeping it off is what's very hard. And people need to understand these things. It takes discipline. So for somebody like, let's use Jason and I, for example, we've been working out for long time, years and years and years. So when we go to the gym, it's just like another part of our day. It's ingrained damn near in our DNA. It's part of our identity now. So for somebody like me and Jason, when we go to the gym, it still takes effort. It's still hard. We're still going to have those days that we don't want to go. And we have many of those, trust us. But it's very, very easy for us to do because it's just part of our lifestyle now. It's part of who we are and what we've adopted as our minimum standard. So it would take 1 point away from our disciplinary points, leaving us with 9 to do whatever the hell that we want to do for the rest of the day. Now, for somebody else who has never done anything fitness related in their life and is giving this their first go, this might actually take 5 disciplinary points. It might take 9. It literally might take everything because we've dealt with depressed people before as well, where literally anything outside of normal things that just can keep them alive and keep them employed literally just took everything out of them. And let's pretend worst case scenario, you're literally one of those guys where if you go, you have to drag your feet to a gym. It takes 9 disciplinary points. You're like, holy crap. That took everything. I only have one left. Now, this is where people need to be very careful. This is why I always say, do not try to bite off more than you can chew. Do not try to flip your life 180 degrees immediately. You're not going to go from overweight to fitness guru in a month. It's not the way that it works, even though some people are going to preach that and they're going to advertise to you saying that that's what they're going to do for you. That's BS. That's BS. It's going to take time because it takes effort. So if you're that guy, it takes 9 points. You got to be careful, because if you use up all your points for today, what happens? You throw in the towel.
Mm-hmm.
Throw in the towel, man. So you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna, that ice cream looks kind of good. Then you eat it. I'll just have one serving. And then it becomes 3 scoops, and then half of the whole half gallon, right? And then you're just like, oh man, I already ate the ice cream. Screw it. I might as well just not, I might as well just not do this. I'm not gonna go for a walk anymore. I'm just gonna stay up late and watch a movie. Literally, shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be careful, because when you that's your motivation right there is what we'll call it. We'll just call it, for lack of a better term. You got to make sure that you never hit zero, because when you hit zero, you throw it all out. You just throw it all out and you screw it. Hands up. I give up. That's it. But here's the good news, guys. It takes time, and over time, as you get continuously, like you just stay consistent, because obviously that's important. It went from 9 points to 8 to 7 to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next thing you know, it's part of you. Mm-hmm. Now you're one of those guys where people are asking you, man, how the hell did you do it? How do you have that motivation? Or are you just born with that? No, it was hard as hell in the very beginning, but I stuck with it long enough to the point where it became a part of my habit and my routines and my just behaviors in general. And it got easier and easier and easier. So guys, if working out, or if eating well, or is just fixing any facet of life that you're working on takes that much effort out of you, just try to master that first. You don't have to do everything all at once. I think that's where so many people fail. They think that they have to do 7 days a week, right? They got to eat clean 100% of the time. This, that, and you know how it goes. That is literally how you go from 10 points to 0, and then you just give up. You just give up, which is why so many people fluctuate up and down, up and down, up and down. We all know that person who lost a lot of weight, looked great. You see him 2 months later, like, what happened to you? Yeah. That's that person who continuously overdoes it and uses all their disciplinary points every day. That's why they go back and forth, man. Going back to what you talk about, homeostasis, you know how uncomfortable you are when you're doing the crazy stuff like that, eating in an aggressive deficit, consistently working out for hours every day, 7 days a week.
You hate life, dude.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks, dude.
But you got to be careful not to tap out. Is my point. Do not tap out.
No, and the thing is the recipe for success of not tapping out is what you just described. And the path forward, literally for 99% of the people that are overweight right now, is to take one step at a time and start habit stacking, dude. And like I'll reference Atomic Habits from James Clear, great book. But go read a book like that, right? Go read a book about habit building, or about, Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership, another great one. You've got to get down to your soul with this. Okay. And I know that sounds a little weird, corny to say, but dude, this is you having an honest, brutally honest conversation with yourself and deciding what you really want out of life. Because then once you do, and you accept that, what Zach said earlier, life is hard regardless, right? You're going to show up and you're going to fight through life, fat and out of shape and with low energy all the time, and not leading by example for your family. Or because life sucks, then life is hard. You can all agree that. Zach and I's life is not any easier than that. It's just a different kind of hard, right? I have energy to keep up with my kids. Life is still hard. I still got to balance business and family and parenting and all these things. And so when you talk about not overhauling your life all in one shot, here's another a little psychology piece for you guys to think on is that when you think about, think back to the time where you were in the best shape of your life. And we do get a lot of guys that have said, I've been overweight my whole life. And if that's you, well, then, you're not going to fit into this exact category. But there was a point in your life where you were fitter than you are now, right? Think back to the time when you were in that position and think about the process that it took you to get from your fit self or your fittest self to where you're at right now. Okay. Maybe it's been a year, maybe it's been 5. Most likely it hadn't been just 2 months. Like you didn't gain 50 pounds in 2 months. And so think about the progression of time and the habit building that you did then. the habits that you were building were shitty ass habits. Okay. We can all agree with that, but you were still building habits over time. So those habits might've been, well, I need something sweet after dinner. So I'm going to go hit up some ice cream after dinner. And it was started with 1 scoop and now it's become 3. Or, I'm bored and I'm stressed and I'm going to go grab something to snack on, something crunchy. And now this is your go-to, right? Your brain starts to get used to you putting yourself in the comfortable situations, which are the dopamine hits, right? I want that immediate gratification. I'm going to go grab some sugar, or I'm going to grab an energy drink because my energy levels are in the dump. I'm going to go grab a Red Bull loaded with caffeine, loaded with sugar. Instead, I could go get a glass of water and go for a short 5-minute brisk walk and get the same benefits and not have the energy crash, but you've trained your brain for these bad habits and now they just keep stacking on each other. So you have to think about unwinding these over time. And when you think about the process like that, think about what you got to do now to get back to the good habits. And it's okay to go slow, dude. It is okay to go at your own pace. What you must do, and I would like to get your take on this, Zach, because I think this. I read some content a while back on this, and it really resonated with me because I didn't know that I did this, but I did this. Okay, and it's all about the identity change. I was a former athlete, which is why I didn't do this in the beginning. I played 15 years of soccer. There was a time in my life where I was on 5 teams at a time, dude. It ran me into the ground, but I was really fucking fit. We lifted weights in soccer. So my coach was not about the skinny guys, right? So we had I was a pretty solid shape when I finished my soccer career. And so when I got fat, I never really thought about identity change because that was a former identity of mine, right? But I think the most important aspect for guys that have a long way to go is to start identifying as an athlete, right? I don't care if you're 300 pounds and you want to get to 190. When you start to identify as an athlete, your brain starts to adopt this new identity. And when you adopt this new identity, you start performing actions on a daily basis out of your new identity, right? This is how those new non-negotiable priorities get formed in your life, because now I'm not a fat desk guy anymore. I'm an athlete. I don't care if I'm 100 pounds overweight, but I'm an athlete and this is what I'm training to be. I'm not going to work out. I'm going to train because I'm an athlete. And when you start using terminology like that, you form the identity change. Then again, you perform out of a non-negotiable priority or set of priorities because of this identity change. So what is your take on that, dude? Do you think that more dads need to identify as athletes so that they can start forming that mentality early on in the process?
100%, man, because it starts with the decision. It starts with the decision. And what people fail to realize, and this is very important, actually. You have to live the life of the person you want to become if you ever want a chance of becoming that person.
Yes.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are hurdles along the way, obviously, right? And one of those hurdles is imposter syndrome. That's something that everybody needs to be highly, highly, highly aware of, because when you're going through this journey, you're going to start questioning yourself, because you know why? Because people around you, whenever you try to achieve anything great, people start questioning you too. Oh, look at this guy trying to do this. Look at this guy trying to do it. Who does he think he is? You know how that goes, right? Whether it's in, again, business, personal, whatever it is, that's what people do. That's just people's natural tendencies, unfortunately, right? We believe most people are kind-hearted, good people, but it doesn't mean that they're not a little envious and jealous of the things that you want to do when it's something greater than things that they are more ambitious than what it is they want to achieve. So imposter syndrome is going to hit you like a truck, and you got to be very aware of this. That's the importance of this call, is we're trying to let you know what to expect during this journey. Because we have many people along the way who are just like, I don't know if this is me. I'll never have a 6-pack. Jason, how often do you hear on sales calls, I want to just be 250 because that's realistic?
Dude, I got to interject this. Yeah, let me tell you this right now, because I've had to start rewording my question, because I always ask them, like, for me, it's the magic number question. Do you have a magic number in your mind where you just know that you're going to feel and look your best? Now I've had to stop and rephrase that question, because I always preface it with this. I said, hey man, I'm about to ask you a question, but I want to preface it with this. I want you to know that the majority of guys that I speak to sell themselves short here. And I don't want you to sell yourself short. Is there a number in your mind that you have that you would love to be at, that you know would be a rock solid number for you, for your physique, the way that you feel, and all these things? Because majority of guys sell themselves short. And what you just said is, all right, you're 300 pounds. Do you have a magic number in your mind? Before I started saying that, I said, do you have a magic number or like a number where you know you'd feel and look your best? Well, I just want to get down to like 250, man. If I could get to 250, I know I'd be a lot better. I'm like, buddy, you're 5'10", dude. 250 still means you're morbidly obese. You're selling yourself short. And this is not a temporary journey. This is a lifelong journey. So I had to throw that in there because, dude, when you lose sight of that, this is your whole life. Because, we tell our guys all the time, what we teach you in the first couple months in the fatherhood is literally what you could and should be doing for the rest of your life if you want to live this lifestyle, right? And when you embrace that early on, then it's like, okay, I just got to get used to this shit, dude, and continue to build on this, right?
100%, man. And for those of you guys that don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's pretty much when you just doubt your skills, you doubt your talent, you doubt what your capabilities are. Mm-hmm. And most people who want to do something grand, something great, something that takes a lot of hard work, you're always going to deal with some type of imposter syndrome to some degree. It is inevitable. Yeah. It is inevitable. So it's very important to understand that this is part of the process, guys. The only difference between Jason and I and everybody else is our set of standards, really, right? So most people, they just have to flip the way that they think about this stuff. They're like, I want to get in shape, so I have to do this, and that. It's not about that. Like we had a coaching call. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago? And I said, guys, you have to be very selfish and very clear about your goals. So what I had these guys do now, if you're listening, do this. Take 2 pieces of paper, right? On one paper, write your absolute like selfish goal. 100% selfish goal. It doesn't matter if you want to be a better dad. It doesn't matter if you want to look more attractive. It doesn't matter if you want to, it doesn't matter if you want a 6-pack, be as selfish as humanly possible, because if you're very true to what your tendencies are, you're more likely to stick to it. Right. And then I said on the second piece of paper, I want you to write everything that you believe needs to be done in order for you to accomplish what you wrote on that other piece of paper. So they did that. And then I said, all right, now that you guys have your list of actions that you need to take over the course of time to achieve this goal, take your goal and throw it in the trash. And they're just like, what? And I said, why? It's because your goal is just a byproduct of the actions that you're going to take. And if you have a good plan and you combine it with enough time, you will get there. It's not about if, it is when you will get there. So people just have to start changing the way they're thinking about this, because when they think about just the end goal only, instead of focusing on the things that they're doing and changing their patterns and changing their behaviors, they're always going to be behind the curve. They're always going to be like, there's so much more to go. I want to quit. I want to give up. And although that might be true, it's not about seeing it that way. It's all about perspective, right? It's about focusing on all the things that you've accomplished. It's about focusing on how far you've come. It's about focusing on the positive changes you made in your life and how it's positively affecting everywhere else in your life, right? That's what it's about. Not focusing on how much further you have to go. Glass half full versus half empty, right? One other metaphor I use is like me and you go outside, right? And you're Jason, the negative guy, and I'm Zach, the positive guy. It's a cold winter day, right? Shoot, it was snowing here in Vegas. My friend who lived here over 20 years said it snowed like 1 time in over 2 decades, and it snowed like 5 times in the last 2 years. So we go outside, all right? Both of us go outside, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's freezing. I wasn't prepared for this. Look at all this crap. This wind is blowing leaves all over the floor. I just cleaned it. This is ridiculous. It's overcast. What the hell? And then I'm out here and I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is beautiful. This is something that's very rare. This is a rare occurrence. I'm glad that I get to witness this. This is cool, crisp air. This is refreshing. I love this. This is amazing that I get to experience this in a place that usually doesn't. It's all about perspective, guys. And when you have that mindset shift, when you decide to look for the silver lining, when you look for the good within the bad, things just get literally easier. Things literally get easier when you're coming from a place of just gratitude versus complaining. And I have to do this, I have to do that, because it's not about that. It's, I have the opportunity to, because look, especially when people are like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to do it. I'm like, dude, there's somebody out there who have no legs and no arms, and they would kill to have the ability to go work out.
How about people want to do? How about people who are dead that would love to still be alive?
Who'd love to wake up.
Yeah.
Who just love to wake up.
We had the guy on the podcast the other day, dude. Right. The real estate guy that we talked to the other day. Right. He was like, now, how you doing? I'm fucking amazing. Well, whoa. I woke up. I'm breathing right now, dude. Like that. And we're very big on the gratitude piece in the community, inside the fatherhood, because of that reason, right? Like it plays a massive role on your mindset, whether it's health and fitness and just general in life. And I think a lot of guys go wrong with this. It's like people that aren't in shape view health and fitness as an extra chore. And you and I view health and fitness as a requirement, right? So it's a totally different mentality when you're not feeling your best, because that's extra work and that's a chore that I don't want to do. Meanwhile, you continue to feel like shit, and you don't love the person that's staring back at you in the mirror. You don't love the man boobs and the beer gut. You don't love your energy levels being in the shitter all the time. You don't love not having libido and being able to have sex on demand with your wife, right? Like, these things fall into place. If you're not horny all the time, you're not healthy, dude. And that's just the facts. If you're horny a lot, you're probably healthy and you're probably in good shape. And I mean, that's just the bottom line, dude. And so I think that, you know, a lot of guys, when we're talking about going on this journey, it's how do we bridge that gap between, man, I'm just not motivated, to like, this just needs to become my new identity. And I think a lot of guys, I use this example with our guys the other day, is, you know, you get an 80 pound, you get an 80-year-old man in the gym, right? You got some at your gym. Everybody has the elderly people. You think those elderly, you think little 85-year-old man that's in there lifting weights is in there to try to get jacked? No, that's definitely not why he's there. He's there because he's been showing up there for the last 40 years, and that's all he knows, because his quality of life is so high, right? You don't see 80-pound obese guys at the gym. They're very few and far between, because the lifestyle never got set. I want to be the 80-year-old grandpa working out still, because I know that if I'm 80 and I'm going to the gym, I've been doing something right for a long ass time. And so I understand there's a lot of aspects of health that come into that. But generally speaking, getting the workout in, going to the gym is the catalyst that moves the needle for most guys, right? It's like, it inspires you to eat healthier. It inspires you to want to get to bed early, all the things that come along with being healthy. So this episode has been total fire so far. I'm loving it. I want to talk real quick about, I want to touch on the things that we talked about in our class with breaking through this, right? Breaking through these little moments of being not motivated, and give some strategies. I have something in my own life that I call the 5-second rule. And it's, I got a video in the curriculum about it, and it's just a simple little trick. We talked about production pivots. So let's get into that for a couple of minutes here before we close shop, man. When Zach Smith fit, okay, you've got that on the end of your moniker there. So you can never become Zach Smith fat again, or you're going to have to change all your social media handles. But so what does Zach Smith fit do when Zach is not feeling motivated? And don't just say, I just get up and fucking do it. Like, what kind of conversation do you have with yourself to get you out of that funk and moving on to the next thing that needs to be done when it's a critical task?
Okay, so there's two parts to this, man. And understanding, for those of you who are going to feel like you don't want to do certain things, because Jason and I are no different. We don't. I recently talked about this girl named Alexis Papas, I believe her name was, and she's a Greek runner who does the 10,000 meters. She's a great runner, and she had a crappy training day, and she told her coach, she's like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it, whatever, but I'll just kind of go in and do it. He said, good. What's important is that you do it. It doesn't matter if you feel like crap. What's important is that you do it. And even if it's not to the highest degree, it's absolutely okay, because there's something called the law of thirds, where a third of the time you're going to be highly motivated, and you're just going to be like, let's go, let's roll. What else can I do? The other third of the time, you're just going with the motions, right? And the last third, you're going to hate it. You're going to detest it. You're going to absolutely just be horrified of the thought of even doing it. So first and foremost, let me set that expectation for you guys. This sucks. I had today.
Yes.
I woke up at 7:30. I wanted to sleep at like 4. I had 3.5 hours of sleep. We're recording a podcast. I'm half asleep still. Do you think I want to go to the gym right now? No, absolutely not. But guess what? This is just that 1/3 that I don't want to do it. And that's absolutely okay. So first, you got to understand
it's expected, right? Mentally. You've embraced that as an expectation.
Expected.
Yeah.
I think, again, that's very important, because most people think that these people who are jacked and fit and putting all this content out are just always motivated, and they think it's like in their genes. No, dude, they're not. They're not. First and foremost, Instagram is a highlight reel. It's a facade, first and foremost. And second, they're just not keeping it real, which is why it's so detrimental to the space. So it's irritating to see all the time, man. But if you know what to expect, you're going to be like, oh, damn, this is part of the process. It is. So if you feel like you don't want to do it, first and foremost, if you understand that, you're like, okay, Zach warned me about this. Now, second part, I tell myself, what do I need to do? Or ask myself, what do I need to do to become better today? Because every day is an opportunity to get better or get worse, because time waits for no man or woman.
There's no neutral.
People who think they could, there's no neutral, right? Because life is an uphill battle. And at the end of that battle, you fall off the cliff and die, because that's the only thing we're guaranteed of when we are born on earth, death, right?
Taxes.
There's no such thing as neutral. Taxes, yeah, taxes too. But hey, at least you get to avoid taxes until you get a job.
True that.
We're guaranteed, we're literally on a one-way road to death. There's no such thing as neutral. Every day is your opportunity to get better or get worse. That's the reality of what it is. There's no neutral. If you're living neutral, you're going backwards, man, because you're either living life on your terms or you're just waiting to die. That's the reality of what it is. And once I have that internal dialogue with myself, I go, okay, am I going to be a little child and prioritize my heart and my feelings, or am I going to be a grown-up man and prioritize my logic, my reasoning? What's it going to be? Do I want to be a grown adult and do the right thing, or do I want to be a little kid? Last I checked, I turned 34 last month. I'm not going to be a child. That is the internal dialogue I have. Understanding the expectations and realizing that you have to choose between your brain and your heart. Yeah. That's what helps you win, man. That's what I do.
Love it, dude. And those are, that's some soul searching, right? Because it's when you're an adult or a kid, it kind of goes back to what the quote that I used from Raymond earlier, when he was like, dude, I heard you talk about just eat your fucking broccoli on the podcast. And I was like, man, I guess that's what I need to do. And I think it's that mentality. It's like, okay, well, do I want to choose comfort today, or do I want to choose discomfort, because I know it's going to help me grow a little bit today, right? I'm not in a position that you are in today, okay? I'll use myself for an example. You're running on fumes, you're fucking up working, and then you're already thinking about gym. Jason did not run on fumes, but Jason did get kicked in the back last night at about, I usually get up about 6:40, 6:50-ish. Colin popped up in bed and was kicking me at 5:50. Way before my wife got home from the gym. She's at the gym and he's asking for mom. Well, I got nobody to pat him back down to bed. So Jason's up. So I lost an hour of sleep and I got leg day today. I don't want to go do leg day. I have no desire to go do leg day today. I'm going to get my ass there. And it might not be my best workout of all time. It definitely won't be my worst workout of all time, because I felt a lot shittier than this. But I know that I know what's waiting on the other side, right? It's not about getting there and putting in that 30 minutes of hard ass work. It's about what's on that other side. Better mood,
Correct.
Better father, better husband, better business owner, better boss, better brother, better friend, all of it, right? It all comes in, and that's where you choose. Am I going to be a child today, or am I going to be a grown ass man? Because if I'm going to be a grown ass man, I'm going to choose the thing that I know is going to move me forward, not the thing that I want most right now. Because it doesn't matter what I want most right now, because I've got people watching me. I have a community to lead. I have a family to lead. I have 2 boys that are watching my every fucking move. Doesn't matter what Jason wants. It matters what is waiting on the other side, because I know that I'm leading by example and I'm moving forward, getting 1% better every single day of my life. I don't move forward every day in my life. I'm not saying that. By no means perfect. There are days when I move backwards, but the sum of most of my days is that 1% better mentality, because it helps me keep moving forward. Now I'll talk about my two little strategies here, and then we'll wrap up. Speaking of sales calls, then we'll wrap up. My 5-second strategy is that as soon as I'm not motivated, right? As soon as I'm trying to start talking myself out of it. Like there's been times where I've been up in the office here and you and I are working, we'll close shop and I'm like, fuck, man, today's like, I've got about a 1 hour window that I need to go to the gym. And I sit here and I start going through it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it today. I'm just not going to do it. Nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. And then I think about my standards. I'm like, okay, well, I've only worked out twice this week. My minimum standard, for me is 3. I get 4 most weeks. It's Thursday. Like if I'm thinking in my mind, today's Thursday. It's my last opportunity to work out. And I've only got 2 in this week. My standards are set up here. I ain't talking myself out of it. So I count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hop up, go put my shit into action so that I can get my ass to the gym. I dread the drive. I know that if I can get through the gym doors, I know why I'm there. I'm not there to people watch. I'm there to get my shit done. All right. Another thing that I'll tell you guys is something that I learned from a different podcast, or I'm not going to call him an influencer, inspirer. Andy Frisella talks about production pivots. Right. And so that's one of my favorite personal podcasts. And when he talks about production pivots, and what he does is as soon as he catches himself doing something that's not productive, right? He's in a lazy state. His mindset's not there. He has trained his brain to do a production pivot and immediately break that cycle and start doing something productive for the health component. We used this last night. It's like when you feel yourself, you want to sit there and stress eat or bored eat, or you want to reach for that chips or candy or whatever, why don't you get up, get a glass of water and go for a quick, 5-minute walk, right? And turn it into a positive behavior. And I love it because that production pivot can very much lead to training your brain to break the cycle of those negative habits. And so between yours and mine, I think the guy's got enough strategies here, man. It's about just taking action, dude. Any final words, dude?
Yes, man. My final words, man, talking about the difference between children and adults. We all know what it feels like to skip the gym and regret it later on in the day.
Yes.
We know what it feels like to know we should eat something that's going to nourish our body and help us accomplish our goals, but instead overeat. We know what it's like when we sleep too late on a weekday, knowing that we have to wake up early, right? We are adults. We are adults and we've gone through this. We've made these mistakes. So the difference between ignorance and stupidity is ignorance is when you make a mistake and you didn't realize it was a mistake. But if you do that twice, that becomes a decision. And if you know that was the wrong decision, guess what? That's the definition of stupidity. Yeah. Nobody wants to be a stupid adult, man. Learn from our mistakes. That's what we need to do. And that's what we've done. And we come up with systems that's allowed us to do so, man. But the bottom line in my final words, guys, is thank you for listening, first and foremost. And this is why we're called the fatherhood, not the childhood. You know why? Because we never prioritize what we want now over what we want most. That's how you win.
Boom. No, dude, this has been one of my favorite episodes in a while, man. I've had a fantastic time doing this. We need to talk more mindset, dude, and bring some of the value that we bring to our fatherhood guys to the show. When we get into leadership and minimum standards, dude, it's what fuels my fire because I think it's what guys need to hear most. So if you got any value out of today's show, we truly appreciate you guys sticking around and we appreciate you following along with our mission, man. We're on a journey ourselves here, and we just show up every day, man. And that's all we could ask from you guys, dude. Show up every single day and your life will improve. Just realize that, you put in the work and have a 1% better mentality every single day. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for you. And I don't care where you're starting. We had a guy that started at damn near 400 pounds, showed up every day for a year and got down to 190. All right. So I know what's possible for you. And my main point here, dude, is just take action, right? Like whether you work with us, whether you work with anybody else out there, start making yourself a priority so that everybody else in your life gets the best version of you, not the third, fourth, or eighth best version of you. You guys get out, crush it this week. We are recording this on a Wednesday, but this comes out on Monday. Today is Momentum Monday. Make the most out of today. Make this week great, and we'll see you in our next episode.